Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, my name is Armando and this is uenosTarot. Here on my channel, I like to do pick a card readings, and for today's pick a card reading, I do have predictions, advice, and any messages channeled to you by Spirit, or in other words, what messages Spirit is trying to communicate to you for the month of December. So before us, we do have 3 piles. I strongly suggest for you to pause the video, definitely take a couple of deep breaths so that way you're able to be more present and identify which group or which pile resonates with you the most. So I'll give you a second, and with that, let's get started with group number 1. Hey there, group number 2. So this is your pile. So the cards that I'm pulling now is going to represent any messages that Spirit wants you to be aware of. It's not necessarily predictions, more like messages that may help you along the way for the month of February. So first, let's start with your spirit animal card. And for this group, you guys got the mouse. You guys also have the facade card for the oracle card, or for your oracle. And then we also have the King of Cups. We have the Hierophant. And let me actually place this one down. And then we have the 7 of Wands. We have the Moon. We have a 5 of Wands. And then lastly, we do have the World card for the tarot. And let me actually adjust this really quickly. You guys are the first group, so this is my guinea pig group where I can have this set up perfectly. And then lastly, we do have an advice card, which we'll get to in a minute. And let me actually also fix my lighting quite a bit. That way everything is focused. I'm sorry, one last tweak. Okay, so starting off with the animal spirit card. So in overall, the energy of this pile, I think what Spirit wants to communicate to you is the fact that maybe you are holding back. There might be a sense of fear of allowing things to flow naturally within your life. And I do get the sense that you might be someone who is really trying to be in control of everything. And for the most part, I think it's important to recognize and let the idea resonate that we really don't have control of anything within our lives. We sometimes, have specific desires that, make us believe and provide some ease during times, but ultimately, again, that does not equate to us having full control to everything that occurs within our lives. For example, the pandemic, that was something that was definitely unexpected. But yeah, for the mouse, this is someone who is trying to be in control of every little detail in life. And I think Spirit just wants you to be mindful of it. They definitely want you to think and reflect if there's aspects in your life where you're trying to control, trying to have, or where you are producing resistance, which is a way of tarnishing happiness, is creating resistance towards what is. There may be some life situations that you may view as a issue or a problem, but again, I think it's important to shift your lens and think about how it really is just a life situation that we're all experiencing to a degree, to a similar degree. No one is exempt from the trials of life and the obstacles of life. So I think just be mindful of that for this month. I think Spirit really wants you to be aware of what things you are offering resistance, or what aspects in your life are offering resistance. Maybe that's I don't know. I would say maybe your past, what you have experienced, maybe your body images that you may have, or the body image that you have of yourself. Maybe your work, maybe your friend group, maybe your family. There's some resistance that I get the sense that you may be um, putting up, and I think it's time for you to let go of it and really just be present in every aspect of your life. I think with the facade, it ties in perfectly, because I think to some degree, based on your experiences, you maybe have potentially created a a survival coping mechanism that maybe was helpful in the past, but I think at this moment is just not really serving you any, or not doing any justice to you. So I think it's very important to definitely reflect and sit back and think about ways in which you are holding back. Think of ways in which you are guarding yourself, because again, ultimately, that is not necessarily affecting your life too much, but it is hindering you from experiencing the best of life, enjoying the moment, being more present, which I think is super common. So don't feel be hard on yourself, or be too, ashamed of this if this resonates. But overall, that's the sense that I am getting from these two cards so far. I also feel the sense that you might be holding back on your potential. There's like a message that spirit really wants you to just let go and really start showcasing who you are. Maybe reflect and acknowledge aspects of your shadow self. Maybe there's parts of you where you really have played it safe and have sold yourself short for acceptance, which really at this point is really important, just to let go of it again, because your life is, meant to be lived. Your life is meant with purpose. You have purpose. You are a divine being. So I think it's just important to really tap into your powers and really have like unwavering strength, like confidence in your strength and abilities. And I think overall that will help you out a lot. I do get the sense that you are someone who knows a lot, someone who is like a natural born leader, someone who has a lot of wisdom. And I think people, can and do look up to you, even though if you don't feel, this great and amazing, like this great and amazing person, ultimately this is you. And if you had individuals who maybe have been, you know, what's the word? Who have maybe have belittled you, or have disregarded your opinion or point of view. Maybe it could be because you do have, a lot of power. You do hold a lot of truth and power, and there is just a perspective that they're not necessarily ready for. But I think it's important just to not necessarily put other people before you, not necessarily like stop putting people before you. Put yourself first. Put your comfort first. Practice to say no. I think that's something that's definitely being communicated to you. And overall, just know that you have a lot of maturity. So again, if you're an individual who has received a lot of resistance, or has come across a lot of people that just want to try you or try it and be petty and just like kind of start unnecessarily drama with you, or you feel like people have just been rude, just know that ultimately that is a projection of themselves. And if you feel like you are a little bit unbalanced, and maybe people in your past have, I guess, brought up issues with you, or you feel like people have done you wrong, or people are just blatantly rude, and if this is like, if you feel a little bit outcasted, if you feel a little bit misunderstood, if you feel like you don't belong, embrace it. Embrace it 1000%. Don't sell yourself short for these people who really don't know what they're doing, who are lost, who are insecure, who are close minded. Like, you have a lot of power within you, and I really want you to reflect upon that, and really, again, allow that message with that I'm sharing, or that spirit's sharing with you, is that you do have a lot of power. And if you feel like you have like become closed off to the world because of these individuals, remember that you do have a lot of maturity, emotional maturity. You do have a lot of wisdom. You are a person who is creating a lot of like a legacy for themselves, and creating a lot of emotional, financial, and spiritual health as well, and abundance. So definitely, if you have came across individuals who just were not the kindest to you, maybe they took your kindness for weakness, that's completely okay. Like, don't be ashamed. Like, that's part of maturing, is learning how to set boundaries, is learning how to just not really care. Like why do we care sometimes? I think it's normal, but I think we also should catch ourselves when that idea is festering too big. It's just kind of like, hey, let's put a pause. Like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I prioritizing these people who aren't really worth squat? Like, why are these lamos, like, how am I prioritizing and putting these lamos on the pedestal? And to a degree, we do that if we give them power, if we sell ourselves short, if we don't speak up for ourselves, if we don't share our opinions, and speak the truth, even if it does cause some, I guess, like, discomfort for them. Like, that's not our problem. Our point in life is to live our truths, to be authentic to ourselves, to tap into our infinite creative potential that exists within all of us, and disregard the opinions of haters, like, without a doubt. With the 7 and 5 of Wands, I do get the sense that you may be, and I do like that these kind of came out together, but for the most part, like, 5 of Wands it's just like unnecessary drama. And I feel the sense that either you have partaken in it, or you have recognized, like, you're in a point now where maybe you're more emotionally mature and can recognize when people are just being blatantly, unhappy and projecting their own insecurities, their own fears, their own pessimistic outlooks on life onto you. And maybe in the past you have, fought back, and you have, like, stooped to their level and allowed them to get you engaged in a lot of, petty, unnecessary, toxic, low vibrational, drama. But I think either now Spirit wants you to either stand up for yourself in a way where you're not obviously being combative or aggressive, but just speaking out upon the truth. The truth can end any conversation. Either the truth can just be like, no, like, I'm not gonna partake in any of this, but thank you. Or you can just call out a truth within them. It doesn't have to be combative, it doesn't have to be petty. It's just being honest, whether being honest with your own emotions, and there's definitely ways of you communicating that in a very direct and stern way, but as long as you're honest, that's definitely going to be a way to kind of let go and be above any petty drama that may come to you. At this point, it's just a matter of not allowing it anymore. Like, you're going to say no to that at all times when that does surface. Lastly, with these two cards, I think there is a side of you that you have not yet fully acknowledged or accepted with the moon, which is completely okay. I do feel like there is maybe some sense of shadow work to be done. With the moon, the way I see it, it is like some truth that, one, it does represent, like, more drama, but I think besides that, I think what a more important message is that, maybe there's a truth that you have to be willing to accept, and be willing to maybe even acknowledge, not necessarily accept. I think a good way or a good practice would be to journal. What I would recommend is maybe, like, blurb out, if that's even a word, just write out, jot down, kind of like word vomit, any issues that you really think are prevalent in your life, and you'll recognize that they're not really issues, they're just thoughts that we allow to continue linger within our heads. So definitely I would say, maybe, like, journal and write down, like, 10 things that you think are life problems. You'll recognize that once you write it out, they're really just life situations. And then if you add, like, a rebuttal or a thought that challenges this issue, you'll recognize that it's not really a big deal. I think at times we either suppress our emotions, we either fail to recognize what we're thinking and feeling, and really they're connected, because how we feel is based on our thoughts, which is what we think. So if you were to write it out, you'll definitely see how it's not that serious, and you really have bigger things, that you can concern yourself with. You have bigger goals, you have bigger talents, bigger powers, more stronger powers, more divine powers that you can definitely focus on, rather than your life situations. But it's definitely important to also just recognize them. Doesn't mean they're true, but again, it is important to just acknowledge them, to really accept how you're feeling, to maybe recognize how maybe you are offering resistance, maybe you are trying to be very controlling of your life and have everything be a certain way, which is not bad to a degree, because I feel like not control, but, like, I guess like routine, like structure is the better word. Structure is good, but it's like if it's an excessive amount, then that's just you trying to be too controlling, which again is not necessarily a bad thing. But I really do think by you just relaxing and going with the flow, you'll definitely have a lot more ease for this upcoming month. With the World card, I do see that this is honestly, if this is something that truly resonates, just know that this is meant to happen. Like this is part of divine timing towards a better and more grandiose, if that's the correct way of saying it, chapter in your life. Is really about overcoming, a certain mentality, a certain way of thinking and viewing the world, and just know that we're always and constantly evolving. So whatever you're feeling, if you are feeling a little upset, just know that it's gonna pass. Like, please be assured that it will pass. Please note that one day you're going to look at life through a different lens, with more confidence, with more strength, with more determination, with more, trusting yourself and the universe. And through that one day, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I remember when I used to think this way, when I used to, stoop down to people's level and always try to defend myself. I remember I would put other people first. I remember I would, play life so safely and create this facade of like being everything like perfect. And just remember that like one day is going to be in the past, and I think for the most part we're always going to worry about something. But yeah, just know that this is going to pass, and for the most part I think it's a good ending. I personally do believe it's a good ending. I feel like the messages that are being channeled are definitely honest, and it's important for us to hear sometimes. So definitely don't feel discouraged, whether we're not hearing the happiest of news. That's okay. Like, as long as we have peace, I'll take it. Like, and I think you should also think of it that way. Like, it doesn't have to be always, dandy and like a bunch of, happy moments. Like, as long as there's peace, and if we could find a place in a state where we're more at peace, I'll take it. I don't know about y'all, but I definitely would. The last card here says, to begin the practice of allowing, I must get out of the way and let spirit give me direction. So again, to begin the practice of allowing, I must get out of the way and let spirit give me direction. I think that ties in perfectly with the mouse card and the facade card, because that definitely ties into either you having or working too hard to try to control life. And for the most part, I think that is like a white lie we tell ourselves, because we really don't have control of what's occurring within our lives. Yes, we may have structure, and structure is good, but if it's in an excessive amount, then that is when it's more detrimental, because we don't allow ourselves to flow and be in alignment with life. We're kind of like a rock in a river. Rather, we need to be in flow with the river, and allow ourselves to be in alignment with the universe and whatever it does have to offer to us. So that's all I have for the cards. The last card I do want to, or the last thing I do want to do, I want to do is to pull out, oh my god, it's so dusty, a crystal, and really that's like a chakra that spirit would like you to focus on for the month of February. Just to keep in mind, again, these are just messages to hopefully alleviate any issues that you may be experiencing. So this is all about the heart chakra. Yeah, so I would say give yourself unconditional love and compassion through all of this. I know sometimes experiencing emotions can be very uncomfortable, but I think it's important to recognize that you're experiencing the thought of a certain emotion. That way you can separate yourself from the emotion and honestly just, be on autopilot saying, I feel this way, or I feel this, I feel that. By us saying that, we're identifying with the feeling. Rather, it's important to recognize it as, I am thinking of the thought, or I'm experiencing the thought of feeling this way. Like, I am believing at the moment, like I'm thinking that I feel this and that. But I think through that, I think it's just important for you to be self-compassionate to yourself. And I think through those moments where your ego and your mind might be a little bit harsh on you, just again, provide yourself unwavering compassion, unwavering love, and by you believing that you are love, trust, and compassion, you are able to give that to yourself, and then the universe is able to, repay that to you fold. So that's all I have for you, group one. I hope this these messages resonated. I think the messages that came through were definitely positive. But yeah, that's all I have for you. If it did resonate, definitely make sure to comment down below. I would love to know. Also make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on next week's video. So now let's get started with group number 2. Hey there, group number 2. So this is your pile. These are going to be any messages that are being channeled by spirit for you to think of for the upcoming month, which is February 2022. More than predictions, I would say these are more like advice messages that spirit does want to share with you to keep in mind for the upcoming February or the upcoming month, because they may be helpful for you in your journey and whatever pursuits you currently are involved in. So for the first card, it is the animal spirit card, and your group got the starfish, so I'll put that there. And then for the oracle cards, we do have creation, and then for the tarot, we have the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Six of Cups, we have the Six of Wands, and I do see 66, so maybe that could be an important number for you that may resonate. Then we have the Magician, which is one of my favorite cards. We have the Page of Swords, and we do have the Six of Swords as well. Oh my god, that's a lot of, yeah, that's 666. So if that resonates for whatever reason, maybe you've been seeing that angel number for a while. I don't know the meaning off the top of my head, but definitely look into it if that's something that resonates. And then for the advice card, we do have this one that came up for your pal, which I'll get to in a minute. So the lighting's weird, I'll be honest. So starting off with just looking at this first glance, I do feel like it's similar to pile number 1. So if you feel like you were drawn to pile number 1, I would say definitely look at that pile as well, that reading. It may resonate. I feel like the theme is somewhat similar, but without that, let me just start off already. So with the starfish, this does represent the idea that this this pile or these people really rely on their appearance, what image they project to the world, whether that's their physical appearance, whether that's what they do on their downtime, their career, their status, whatever it may be. This is someone that definitely really puts into consideration how other people view them rather than how you view yourself. And then with the creation card, overall, what I'm getting with these two cards off the bat is that maybe it's time for you to really tap into your natural abilities. And maybe you're someone who's into art, whether that's painting, drawing, poetry, writing, even in more creative and more modern ways like makeup, what else, like design, like fashion, whatever it may be. I think what spirit wants you to be mindful of is to kind of tap into that creative side of you. Maybe you have been feeling a little burnt out. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more on the empty side as far as like feeling more shallow and surface. And again, that's because for the most part, our human essence and our point on earth is to create. And for the most part, individuals are able to create art. Like that's really the only thing we're able to really create that's uniquely to us and our natural abilities. So I think that's really what spirit wants you to keep in mind. Either whatever you're doing, kind of incorporate more of creativity, incorporate more of magic overall, because this talks about magic, and then we have the magician here. But I think for the month of February, what spirit wants you to be aware of is that this might be a good time to focus on maybe long-term goals, specifically more with your finances. and really think about maybe creative projects that can bring in revenue and can bring you maybe financial liberty and not have so much constraints. I think for the most part, what Spirit is trying to communicate is that you do have talents, and the magician represents someone who's able to really create and manifest all of their dreams and outcomes. For the most part, it does include all of the elements within tarot: the cups, the swords, the wands, the pentacles, and really maybe you have several interests, but I think what Spirit wants you to do is really hone in on one, or hone in on all of them, however that may apply or resonate with you. Whatever natural talents and abilities you do have, whatever I guess like craft you have and are able to showcase to the world, and again, however that may represent and resonate with you, I think it's really time for you to tap into it more and invest more of your time in it, and believe in it, and believe in the fact that it can and will bring you monetary success. I think that's something that Spirit definitely wants you to have more confidence in. Whether you are comfortable and content with life already, that is amazing, and I'm not trying to stray you away from that, but I think if there is a unique talent or ability that that you really know in the bottom of your heart, that is your natural gift and ability that no one else has, definitely tap into it, definitely galvanize yourself more and invest yourself more into it, because it's going to be it definitely could be a lot of there's a lot of potential for you to bring a lot of monetary wealth to yourself. I think also what Spirit wants you to be aware of is that they want you to either start practicing or fully embrace, depending on where you are at, where what resonates more, either start or fully embrace or like kick it into like high gear your free spiritedness, if I'm saying that correctly. So with the Page of Swords, I am getting like being a free spirit, and I think Spirit really wants you to navigate through the month of February with no doubt, um no hesitation, full and unconditional trust in the universe and yourself that things are going to be, great, that every day is going to be amazing, that there's going to be no hiccups. If there is, obstacles that surface, you're not even going to let it make you sweat. You're not even going to overthink it. It's going to simply come and go. And I think that's something that's important for you. I don't think that's not something necessarily you struggle with too heavily, but I think Spirit definitely wants you to just kind of push your limits. I feel like you might be in a stage where you have a lot of power. You are very blessed, and you're going to continue to be blessed with so many opportunities and blessings. But I think what Spirit wants you to do is like kick it into high gear, have more fun, be more relaxed, definitely let go of any thoughts that may occur, like again, like let them come and then just overcome them. And I think overall that's going to help you. It's like your month to thrive within the month of February. Maybe you have um you have a birthday coming up, whatever it may be. It's definitely your month, and definitely take advantage of this high energy that Spirit is kind of giving you gas and fuel for this month. So definitely utilize it to the best of your ability, and just have a lot of free spirit and have that outlook for the month of February. Maybe what Spirit wants you to do as well is, throughout having more of a relaxed time, definitely also indulge in the things that make you happy. One thing that I am thinking of off the top of my head is kind of do things that would make your childhood or your inner child happy. So either that could be like your favorite meal, that could as a child, or your favorite activity that you used to do as a child, or a place you used to go to as a child. And again, this could be like from ages like from when you can recall memories, to like 4 or 5 to like 17, 16, whatever it may be. Maybe get a piercing that you always wanted, maybe dye your hair like you always wanted. Just do those things that, again, maybe more of a child would be more open and confident to do. I think as we do age and mature, we do hold back a lot, and we are more, I guess, aware and caring of what people would think, but definitely do the things that would make your childhood, like your inner child, happy. It doesn't mean that you have to be reckless and get like face tattoos unless that really would make you happy. But again, not necessarily to that extreme. Um, but definitely do things that would make you, that would bring peace to you, and would soothe you by doing them. With the Six of Wands and the Six of Swords, um, what I would say that Spirit wants you to recognize is that throughout any moment where you are feeling a little bit down or gloomy, just recognize that there's one, a lot to be grateful for, but also two, so much that you have overcame and have accomplished within life. So just remember to always celebrate yourself, even if it's for the smallest of accomplishments. Definitely do so. I think that's something that could help you out for the month of February. And again, I'm not getting the sense that you're necessarily struggling or having like day-to-day dread, but I think this is something that will definitely help you out just to like evolve, like fully embrace and embody a like self-actualized individual, without allowing issues to kind of get in the way. Rather, you stay above it, you stay conscious of them, you allow them to come and go, and through that you offer, by not offering no resistance, they like challenges and hardships within your life won't have any significance within your life, which I think is important sometimes, because I think it's so easy for us to get um trapped within like a victim mentality, or even just harp on things for a little bit too long or more longer than we should. So I think overall, that's like, I think Spirit is just encouraging you to like go little rock star, and that's you for the month of February. Like for everything, excuse me, for everything you do is like go little rock star, like really go. And again, uh for the most part, I'm getting the sense that you have overcame a lot from the past. Maybe in the past you did have some hardships, and now you're in a place where you can recognize, like, okay, I'm definitely maybe not where I would dream of being, but I know I'm not where I used to be, and I know I'm not going back. And I think that's what Spirit really wants you to do, is like, hey, you're in a new chapter in your life, there's new characters, new settings, new environments, and new themes, new dramas, whatever it may be. But at this point, I think it's important for you just to recognize the growth and the progress you've made since the past, and really honor yourself and be happy, and just be content and confident in yourself for all that you have overcame. And again, just incorporate more of a free spirit ness. I think that's a word. I'm adding ness to it, but definitely incorporate that for the month of February, because I think it's just gonna kick things into high gear. And I think that's definitely the push you need, because you're definitely capable of overcoming it. You're definitely capable of evolving, and I think now is your time to really shine. Also, just disregarding the fish part, just be like ultimately like a star. So, lastly, I do have this advice card for you all, and the message says, feeling good will bring me far more than whatever I thought I needed. So again, feeling good will bring me far more than whatever I thought I needed. So I think that ties in, perfectly with this. Why is it so dark? Perfectly with this pile of cards. Ignore my phone. But yeah, for the most part, the starfish is someone who focuses on, I guess, the outside more than the inside, focusing more on how people perceive you, being too self-conscious, worrying about things that really we have no control of, So definitely this is, to me, the antithesis of this. Now we're placing ourselves first, how we feel, what makes us happy, are we making ourselves happy by really putting our energy towards things that bring us fulfillment, bring us life, bring us energy, like that's organic and infinite, rather than putting up a facade and being so cautious about creating a curated image or projection of who we want to others. I think that's living for others, not necessarily living for yourself. But this one I think ties in perfectly, saying feeling good will bring me far more than whatever I thought I needed. Excuse me. Which I think is very true. And I think overall it just ties in perfectly with this message. And again, by you, I wish these were kind of like over here, or I wish I mentioned these first, because by you incorporating these new ways of thinking, you really will be surprised of what will come to you and the blessings that you will receive by the fruits of your labor. The hard work that you do that are not easy. Shifting mental paradigms are not simple. The way you think is not simple. I think sometimes we allow ourselves to live in autopilot, but by you making yourself conscious of these things, it will really bring you a lot of abundance of the things you didn't even know you needed, or you didn't even know would make you happy. So definitely embrace this for the month of February. I'm definitely rooting for y'all, and I'm excited to see how it will turn out. So definitely comment below as far as how this resonates with you. Lastly, I do have my zodiac pouch, which I'm trying to get the dust off because it captures the dust so well on film. So this is kind of like a chakra that spirit wants you to be aware of for the month of February, for you to really hone in and focus on. And the card that comes up, oh my god. So yeah, definitely look into pile number 1. Again, for the most part, it was somewhat similar as far as the message, but they also got the same crystal. They got the heart crystal, or the heart chakra. It's focusing on the heart chakra. So yeah, I think for you, in a more positive light, I feel like this reading is a little bit more positive than group number 1. But yeah, through this, I think just provide yourself unwavering love. um Embrace being a free spirit. When you do indulge in the things that make your inner child happy, indulge in them 100%. Put your phone away. Allow that time to be for you, and let it be uninterrupted. Give yourself undivided time, because I think that's going to give you a lot of what you didn't even know you needed. And again, when you do come across issues, as far as like more heavy thoughts and feelings, let them pass 100% all the time. Celebrate yourself to combat those feelings. Challenge the matrix. Don't just conform to how maybe you were being programmed to feel and socialized to feel. No, combat it, honor yourself 100%, and continue investing in your talents with a lot of love, knowing that you're going to receive a lot in return, and again, more than you even thought you needed. So definitely give yourself that unwavering love for the month of February. So that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this resonated. If this did, definitely comment down below. I would love to know how it does. Also, make sure to not forget to pound that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, as it would help my channel. With that, let's get started with group number 3. Hey there, group number 3. So this pile is for you. I'm already out of breath. How is that? If I just started. So for you guys, I do have a reading for the month of February, and these are more of channeled messages, more than predictions. I would say it's more of advice and just things that spirit definitely wants for you to be mindful of for the month of February. So let's get started. The first for the animal spirit card, you guys did get the beaver, which is right here, which I think is so cute. And then second, for the oracle card, we do have abundance. And then for your tarot, we have the 4 of cups. We have the 8 of swords. We have the ace of wands. And then we have the 10 of cups. And then we do have the strength. Let me show y'all. And then we do also have the 8 of cups. And then lastly, we also have an advice oracle card, which just fell on the floor. But I still accept it. And then we'll read that in a minute or so. So let's start off with these two cards. What the beaver represents is someone who is a very dependable individual. You're definitely very grounded, or at least the month of February is going to allow you to be very grounded. Again, overall, you are a very dependable individual. And the beaver also represents someone who is able to provide home and security and financial wealth and abundance. So, overall, I think that's definitely the message that's being communicated for the month of February. I think it's definitely time to initiate more things that are possibly outside your comfort zone, but that can provide more financial abundance and stability. I think it's definitely your time to shine during the month of excuse me, for the month of February. It's a good time because overall, I think what Spirit wants to communicate with you is that there is a lot of abundance in your future. Excuse me again. But yeah, the month of February is definitely a time for you to really hone in on what is it that you really want to do. Um, and maybe what I mean by that is like what in what ways are you not pushing yourself to your fullest potential? Are you holding back? Are you playing it safe? Do you know you're destined to have more financial wealth and abundance for the future, but maybe you just haven't initiated that process quite yet? And if that resonates, that's completely okay. But just know for the month of February, it's definitely your time to really involve yourself or yeah, I guess involve yourself with new opportunities that may seem daunting. Maybe there might be a fear of success, and maybe that's what's holding some delay. But again, definitely for the month of February is your month to really galvanize yourself within these new opportunities that can provide more financial wealth and abundance. For the Four of Cups and Eight of Swords, I think what Spirit wants you to be mindful of is to definitely take some time to meditate. If you haven't done so, if you really haven't incorporated this practice within your life, Spirit really wants you to, get into this hobby and again incorporate it as a lifestyle change. Doesn't mean you have to change all of your life, it just means incorporate that to your either daily routine, maybe weekly routine if you want to start off with that until you really, are able to again incorporate this hobby or lifestyle. For the most part, I do get the sense that maybe there's times where you're feeling overwhelmed. You may get bogged down in your own head. You may have feelings of like playing the victim, which again is completely normal. And I think an important thing is just to recognize that we're having these thoughts and knowing that it is a thought and they will pass. Overall, I think that's completely common. But I think Spirit for you, they really want you to really start meditating, because ultimately, when we're feeling this way, by doing this, we're able to feel a lot better. So overall, I think just Spirit wants you to practice some sort of meditation or practice some sort of work that allows you to de-stress yourself, to not really to stop thinking overall. So maybe that could be working out, maybe that could be yoga, maybe that could be writing or reading, whatever it may be. I think overall there just needs to be an incorporation of self-care for you to overcome these thoughts that just may make you feel um a little bit more heavy, a little bit more gloomy, that could be a little bit more burdensome. So that's definitely something that will help in order for you to really achieve this abundance, which seems like it might be not necessarily easily earned, but again, by those things, the things that are harder to achieve have longer longevity. And I think that's really the message that Spirit is trying to communicate with you, is that we're doing the prep work now, so when you're ready to take action, or actually this is a form of taking action, but once it's really time to kick it into high gear, you'll be more equipped And I think that's really important. I think sometimes we just, forget to take care of ourselves and we live in autopilot. But I think that's what Spirit is definitely trying to make you mindful of starting this month of February. So with the Ace of Wands, I do get the sense that there's a sense of action that you're going to incorporate, or you've been hesitant to begin and start. um However that may resonate in whatever way. And again, um creating financial wealth and abundance is not a linear thing. It's not like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Rather, you're doing a lot of like, point A to point B to point C to point D to point E to point F to point, G, I think, H, I, whatever it may be. The point being that is that it's not linear, and I do know my ABCs. I just blanked out. um, but yeah, I think Spirit just wants you to really incorporate change for the month of February and really involve or take action towards whatever it may be that you have been pondering upon doing, and having, allowing the idea to kind of like slowly grow in your head as far as like, hey, I'm gonna commit myself to doing this, I'm gonna commit myself to doing that. I think now is really the time to take action. And what Spirit wants you to know is that by you, like, I feel like you already know the dream life that you want. Like, that's kind of like the energy that I'm getting, is that you already know what you want in life. You know the car that you want, how you where maybe you want to live, what job, um what type of, lifestyle, whatever it may be. I feel like you already know or have an idea of what you want. I think what Spirit wants you to know is by you starting these small steps and committing yourself towards the things that are for your greater good, um it's definitely going to pay off. Maybe not in the month of February, it might not be immediate, but that's okay, because the process of evolving and the process of you kind of overcoming fears, the process of you embarking on new opportunities and journeys is really fun. So it's definitely not to say that, oh, it's gonna be a hard, battle or like a climb. It's gonna be an enjoyable process. I think development is definitely very enjoyable. So look at it through that lens if you ever are feeling a little hesitant. And again, if you are feeling fearful or doubtful in your abilities, again, that's completely normal. But definitely take the time for self care. Definitely take the time to really combat these emotions. And again, that's going to be through some meditative type of work, whatever is best for you, and whatever you are most inclined to doing. Definitely, do them when you are feeling a bit overwhelmed. So, with the Strength and Eight of Cups card, I think what Spirit wants you to know is that you overall, though, like overall, regardless of everything, you are very powerful. So, again, if you're feeling a certain way, if maybe you have hesitations of starting new things and taking actions, and maybe you're like thinking, how am I going to get to this, like my dream life? Like, I can't imagine how I will get there. And that's completely fine. Like, it's not your job to know how you'll get there. Your job is just yourself, to be to take action into the things you have around your scope of availability. And with time is going to bring that to you. You don't chase time, you don't pursue it. Like, by that, it's going to cause more stress. Rather, you are, let's say you are here in the center. Let's say this is, working out, this is meditating, this is practicing more open communication and like building a network. This is, your hobby that can bring some financial wealth. This is I don't know, like your habits and routines. This is like hygiene, maybe. And by you like tapping into all these cups, let's say, and filling them with your time and dedication, slowly you will receive a lot of abundance. But through it all, although change is not the most easiest thing, it's definitely easy to incorporate things. And through those moments, if you are feeling a little bit like doubtful, or you want to quit, or do you just again can't imagine getting to this point, just remember that you are very strong and you're really capable of achieving and overcoming anything that you set your mind to. I think sometimes it's important to recognize that our thoughts and mind are really powerful. If we tell ourselves we can, we will. If we tell ourselves we can't, we will tell ourselves that we're not cut out for it, and we'll make an excuse to, you know, create or fulfill that self prophecy. So definitely keep that in mind when you are feeling a little bit, challenged, or you're feeling a little bit more stressed. And I think lastly, with the Eight of Cups, what Spirit wants you to know is that it's important for you to also know that you can walk away from any situation. If you are someone who's maybe has a lot of ideas in mind, and you try it out and you just feel like it's not working out, sometimes they're just not meant for us. They really are not meant for us. And it's not to say that is the end of the world. It's not to say that, nothing else will come, no other opportunities will come. But some things are just not for us, and it's just for us, kind of like trial and error, and it kind of allows us to further narrow what we do want, and what is meant for our lives, and what 10 of cups, like what are these, how do these look like, how are they defined? They're not just given to us. I think it's important for us to also do the work and kind of experiment what makes us happy and what doesn't. And ultimately, through trial and error, you'll be able to gauge what things, what activities, what hobbies, what people make us happy. And then that's how we're able to create our dream life. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that it's okay to walk away from things if they're not serving us, but it's also important for us to recognize when we're quitting. I think wanting to quit is very normal. But I think it's just important to be honest with yourself, and that's again with yourself. Like no one's out here looking at what you're doing. No one's managing your life. Like no one has that power. Like no one is that invested, because I think we're all invested about our own lives. But again, through that, although you might have several ideas as far as endeavors, it's okay if one doesn't make the cut, you know and it's okay to leave that potential and start embarking on new dreams and ideas. So just keep that in mind for the month of February. Lastly, we do have this advice card, as I like to call them. And for y'all, you guys got this one that says, appreciation dissolves all blocks to the presence of my super attractor power. So appreciation dissolves all blocks to the presence of my super attractor power. That was kind of worded weird, in my opinion. But yeah, point of it though being that it's important for us to really practice appreciation. I think also this card represents that ideas for us maybe not being appreciative of what we have. As you can see in this depiction, it's kind of like the universe kind of offering like, hey, you want this, but we're just so jaded, So again, if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, if you are feeling a little bit jaded, make sure to meditate. That's like I think what spirit really wants you to do. Maybe you're in need of it. I feel like your life overall is pretty good, and I feel like the trajectory is already good. It's been good. I think this is just this little, you know, aspect that we do have to focus on, and that's meditating. I know for me, like I'm not the best at meditating on a daily basis as long as I would want to. Maybe I, take a moment to like breathe for a few minutes every so often throughout the day. Um so again, maybe I'm practicing what I should preach, but I think as long as you make the intention um to meditate and commit to yourself to avoid these yucky feelings, I think that definitely will help out. I also want to pull another one out for this one. You're the only group that's getting two for the advice card. Again, I don't like the way that was written unless it's like my Spanish tongue that is not able to read that 100% well. Appreciation dissolves all blocks to the presence. Oh, I guess it does. It's pretty much saying that appreciation removes all blocks, and you're like a magnet to all that you want, which makes sense. But I'm gonna pull this one, and it says, when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. You see, this was worded a lot more easy. Whoever made, actually, I don't know who the creator of this. Where's the box? Anyways, I was gonna look at who created this deck. But yeah, so I think that definitely ties in with appreciation and being grateful. And again, I think this is very true. When I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. And I think this all talks about, the journey. Um, I think that's the key highlight of it is the journey. You're currently in the journey. So definitely practice gratitude throughout the way. And again, even if things are stressing you out, even if things are difficult and you kind of want to go back to your old ways, just be grateful. Be grateful for you to have the opportunity to be conscious and make and be responsible over your actions and choose path B, being growth rather than path A, which is just comfort. So when you did take, maybe 10 minutes out of your night to meditate rather than be on TikTok, and maybe it wasn't so easy to get out of bed or just take that moment after brushing your teeth, to actually sit down and meditate. But once you do so, give thanks. Be like, damn, universe, thank you for allowing me to be conscious of my actions and choosing a path that ultimately is going to serve my highest self. So again, that's definitely an important key to keep in mind throughout the month of February. And lastly, I do have this pouch. It has the chakra crystals, and this is the chakra that spirit wants you to really be mindful of for the month of February. And for y'all is this one, which is the throat chakra, which is all about self-expression. And I think it doesn't tie in well. I think maybe it's important for you to um, either express yourself through journaling or to someone, like confiding them, and practice maybe vulnerability as well. Just share about how you're feeling, but ultimately a way where you're acknowledging that what you're feeling is a thought, or what you're thinking is a thought, and then the feeling is what's coming through. So instead of me saying like, hey, I'm feeling sad, tell yourself, hey, I'm experiencing the thought, or I'm thinking of how I'm feeling sad at the moment, and by just you saying that and recognizing it more as a thought, like, hey, I'm thinking of, I'm having thoughts, and it's making me feel sad, or I'm having thought that I am feeling sad. And through that, it just allows a minor gap for you to separate yourself from the feeling rather than identifying the feeling. Because it's true. I saw this one video where we're saying that we're always communicating and I feel. But again, we are not our feelings. So definitely just practice that. Practice honesty and vocalizing anything, whether it's successes, whether it's ideas, whether it's moments where you feel empowered. Confide that with people that you trust in. And just, practice self-expression. I think that's something that's going to be very helpful for the month of February. So that's all I have for you, group number 3. This is a lapsed group. I really hope you enjoyed it. If this resonated, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below, because I definitely would like to know how it did. And just make sure to pound that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.